Hello dear students, I am Professor Priya Kulkarni from Parvati Baigen Bamose College of Engineering, Wagholi, Pune, and we are in our second unit, that is permeability and seepage of our geotechnical engineering subject. Okay, so in this lecture we will discuss some important points regarding Laplace equation. The solution of Laplace equation is flow net. Okay, we'll study the properties of flow net, and then we'll discuss some numericals based on our second unit. Okay, then we will cover this part. So we'll start with the Laplace equation. The flow through soil is generally two-dimensional. Okay, hence the simple method of construction of flow net cannot be used in such cases. I think you have heard this flow net point in your fluid mechanics subject also. Okay, flow net, to get the discharge and to get the pattern of the flow, we use this flow net concept. Okay, but this flow net is a very simple method of very simple, and we cannot easily, or we cannot predict the flow net solution for complex structure or complex flows. Okay, so in that case we'll study this Laplace equation. Okay, the following assumptions, means the assumptions are made in the Laplace equation. Those are, first one is Darcy's law is valid. Okay, we have studied Darcy's law in our previous lectures. Okay, so for whatever may be the flow, what is Darcy's law? Darcy's law is the velocity or flow or discharge, okay, is directly proportional to the hydraulic gradient I. V is directly proportional to I. So this is the Darcy's law, and the first assumption in the Laplace equation is Darcy's law is valid. Okay, then the second assumption, that is soil is fully saturated. So I have discussed this point earlier also. To for the condition of permeability, or to passage of water from the soil, this condition should be there, or this condition should be applied perfectly when there is a fully saturated soil. Okay, otherwise if the soil is dry or partially saturated, the soil first becomes saturated, it absorbs, or it absorbs the uh, running water first, and then it will allow the passage of flow. Okay, so the soil should be fully saturated. Then soil is isotropic and homogeneous. So what does mean isotropic? Isotropic means the properties, all the geometrical properties or engineering properties are same in all the directions, x, y, z. Okay, so whatever property we are applying in x direction, that is same for y direction, same for z direction. That is the meaning of isotropic. And homogeneous means it consists of same material. Okay, same material, same textures, same size, same properties. Okay, so that means homogeneous. Then next assumption is flow is steady. Okay, and the flow is two dimensional. Generally this Laplace equation is best suited for two dimensional flows only, and water and soil are incompressible. So these assumptions are made for this Laplace equation. So we'll start what is the actual Laplace equation. We'll derive that equation first. So let us consider a soil element of dx, okay, and dz, through which the flow is taking place. Okay, so this is the rectangle is the soil element. Okay, dx and dz are the particular dimensions. Then uh, the third dimension of element is taken as unity. Okay, so we have considered that this is best suited for two dimensional flows only. So we have considered x and z direction. Okay, we have considered x, we have considered this as x and this as z direction. Y for any value in y direction is considered as unity 1. Okay, then just consider, let the velocity at inlet and outlet of the faces be Vx okay, Vx, this is inlet, and after this Vx velocity passes or crosses this soil element, then it becomes Vx into dou Vx by dou x into dx. Okay, there will be some change in the velocity. Okay, whatever the velocity Vx is passing from the soil element, then while it coming from this soil element, or while it passes from the surrounding soil elements, there is a change in velocity. Okay, change in velocity, it will add this derivative part in the Vx. Okay, so similarly in in z direction, Vz, and this is inlet and this is outlet velocities, Vz into dou Vz by dou z into dx, dou z. Okay, here z will be the value. Okay, so this will be the velocity at inlet and outlet phase of the soil particle. Okay, then as the flow is steady and soil is incompressible, the discharge entering in the element is equal to that the leaving element. So whatever discharge is coming in, that will be equal to whatever discharge is coming out. Okay, because why we can have this, because we have considered or we have assumed soil is steady and incompressible. Okay, then so by assuming that part, we can directly uh, equate whatever the velocity entering the soil elements. Okay, this is equals to whatever be the velocity at outlet. Okay, clear? Then by solving this simple terms, we get this value. Okay, and by doing this derivative part, we get this value, that is equation dou Vx upon dou x plus dou Vz upon dou z is equals to 0. Okay, so this is the continuity flow or continuity equation for two dimensional flow. This is very important equation. Okay, just remember this point. This is the continuity equation in the two dimensional flow. Okay, then let h, small h, be the total head at any point. That we know hydraulic gradient I is equals to h by L. Okay, now here we have considered a horizontal hydraulic gradient and vertical hydraulic gradient. So that's why minus. Now why this minus sign comes? Because head decreases in the direction of flow. Because head decreases in the direction of flow, that's why we have considered this point negative. Okay, so minus dou h upon dou x in x direction or horizontal direction, this is the horizontal hydraulic gradient, and dou h upon dou z minus, this is the vertical hydraulic gradient. Okay, then from Darcy's law, what is Darcy's law? V is equals to Ki. Okay, V is equals to Ki is the Darcy's law. So I will substitute these values. Okay, and we get this value in terms of Vz, Vx and Vz. Okay, so we'll put this velocity values in this continuity equation. Getting my point? Okay, what we will do here, we will substitute these velocity terms in this continuity equation. Okay, then we'll solve for it, and since we have assumed that soil is assumed to be isotropic means soil properties are same in all the direction. Okay, that's why kx is equals to kz. Okay, so we get this value in terms of head. Okay, so this is the Laplace equation in terms of head h. So dou 2h by dou x square plus dou 2h by dou z square is equals to 0. This is the Laplace equation in terms of h. Okay, now here we have or we get the Laplace equation in terms of velocity potential phi. Okay, velocity potential phi. So what we have done here, so we have, for instead of or for Vx, dou phi in terms of velocity potential, dou phi by dou x is equals to minus k dou h by dou x. Same value we have done in terms of phi, velocity potential. So these two are the Laplace equation. This Laplace equation is in terms of head, and this Laplace equation is in terms of velocity potential. Okay, so this is very important, and just be sure that you also know the continuity equation for two-dimensional flow. Okay, so these three equations are very important. Then what we will do, or what we will study next, is the solution of this Laplace equation is the flow net. Okay, so whatever we have got these equations, okay, whatever the Laplace equations we have got, so that can be solved by using flow net. Okay, now that equations, or that Laplace equation express the fundamental relationship for steady potential flow in isotropic soil. Okay, so this is the assumption what we have done. Now for two-dimensional case, the solution of this equation represent two families of orthogonal curves as a streamlines or flow lines and potential lines. Okay, so what does the flow net exactly consist of? It consists of two equations representing orthogonal curve. Orthogonal means perpendicular curves to each other, and those curves are flow lines and potential lines. Okay, now when drawn on sheet of paper, these curves form a pattern appearing like a net. That's why it is considered as flow net. Okay, because these lines are perpendicular to each other, they can form a square. Okay, and this diagram looks like a net. That's why it is called as a flow net. Okay, now the flow net is a graphical representation of the solution of Laplace equation for two-dimensional flow. Okay, the flow lines, now just see this diagram. The flow lines trace the flow of particle of water and equipotential. So just consider here, these are the flow lines. Okay, okay, and perpendicular to that are equipotential lines. So I have drawn here, just see this, these are the equipotential lines and these are the flow lines. Okay, and this is q1, q2, q3 is the quantity or discharge from this flow net. Okay, and this is in discharge in, this is discharge out, same q1, q2, q3. Okay, with respect to t1, t2, t3. Okay, so getting my point. Now what we have done here also, so by formation or by combination of these flow lines and potential lines, it is also known as equipotential lines, we can get this type of circles. Okay, squares, we can get this type of squares. Okay, so these squares are known as fields. Okay, the squares forming because of these flow lines and potential lines, it is known as field. Okay, and the we can also measure this head h1, h2, h3. Okay, with the help of some manometric tubes. Okay, head for our calculation, so that h1, h2, h3 can be calculated or can be measured. Okay, now what is the solution, or what we can get from this flow net is this. Okay, so q is equals to q1 is equals to q2 is equals to q3. So whatever is the discharge entering from this flow net, okay, whatever is the discharge entering in the flow net is equals to, or is same at all the points q1, q2, q3. Okay, then h, capital H is equals to delta h1 plus delta h2 plus delta h3. Okay, head is the addition of all these, total head, capital head H is the addition of the all the head differences, and H delta H1 is equals to delta H2 is equals to delta H3. Okay, so this is our solution of this flow net. Okay, so we can get the discharge and hydraulic heads at different points from this flow net. Okay, so this is the conclusion about the flow net. Now there are properties of flow net. So these are the distinguishing properties of the flow net. So discharge Q1, Q2, Q3. See this first property, discharge Q1, Q2, Q3 through each flow path is equal, and total discharge is addition of all the discharge. So Q is equals to Q1 plus Q2 plus Q3. Okay, and potential head. Okay, so it is also known as head drops H1, H2, H3 between any two adjacent equipotential lines are equal, and total drop is capital H is equals to H1 plus H2 plus H3. Okay, then flow lines and equipotential lines are orthogonal, that is they are perpendicular to each other. Okay, this is very important assumption. Then next property is flow lines and equipotential lines form square figures, and their corners are at right angles and the median distances are equal. Okay, so they form a square and the squares are known as fields. Then flow lines do not intersect. Flow lines, these flow lines does not intersect with each other. Okay, and potential lines do not intersect except at boundaries. So potential lines can intersect at the boundaries. So these potential lines can intersect at the boundaries. Okay, so these are the properties of flow net. Now by using this flow net concept, we can easily we can easily draw the seepage line or the earthen dam. Okay, so we have got or we have earthen dam and sheet pile. Okay, sheet pile in sheet pile also we can draw or we can form this flow net concept, and for earthen dam we have to consider this seepage line. Okay, so what is the seepage line and why we have to consider that point, we'll discuss here. So you know, this earthen dam is totally compacted earth over there, and we have to regulate that permeability or seepage. Okay, seepage through that earthen dam. Okay, or if this seepage exceeds some particular value, then it can be very dangerous. The dam may got a crack or it can directly um, rupture. Okay, so to avoid that we have to constantly keep a check or keep an eye on the seepage line. So what is exactly seepage line and how to draw that seepage line for the earthen dam, we'll study here, and this is very important. Okay, now what we will do here, seepage line is also known as phreatic line. Okay, phreatic line, so it is the line within a dam section below which there are positive hydrostatic pressure in the dam. So just see here, this is the phreatic line. Okay, so below which there is positive hydrostatic pressure. Now hydrostatic pressure on phreatic line is atmospheric. Okay, the now the next point or important point is this determination of phreatic line in a dam with a horizontal drainage filter. Okay, this is filter, we have discussed about filters. Okay, now so this AB is sorry, this AB is the upstream face and horizontal projection BL. This horizontal projection is L of this upstream face AB. On water surface, measure a distance BC is equals to 0.3 L. Okay, BC is equals to 0.3 L. Then the C point is the starting point of this base parabola. Okay, this phreatic line is nothing but the parabolic line. Okay, so this is the base point for the parabola. The directrix of parabola is located by utilizing the principle that any point on the parabola is equidistant from the focus as well as from directrix. Hence, with point C as the center and CF as a radius, point C as the center and CF as a radius, draw an arc to cut the horizontal line CB in D. Okay, so we have to draw this type of arc. Okay, it will cut in the D point. Since CD and CF is equals to this CD and this CF. Okay, let me show here. CF and CD are equals, and DH is the directrix. Okay, so this vertical line is directrix. Now the last point J on the parabola will lie between F and H. Okay, this will lie in between F and H. Okay, it is clear. Then the locate intermediate points on parabola, and principle that the distances from focus and directrix must be equal will be used, and we have to locate these points on this parabola. Okay, to locate any point P, this to locate any point P, draw a vertical line QP at a distance x and y, and this distance should be equals. Okay, so this is the main principle for drawing this parabolic line. Okay, so any point or any distance from the focus and directrix must be equal. So by using this parabola, locate the points and just join these points to get this phreatic line. Okay, so this is the construction of the top seepage line on the other dam. So by using this flow net concept, this concept is used here, and we can easily locate any phreatic line in the dam. So just remember this point very carefully. The seepage pressure below this phreatic line is hydrostatic. Okay, now next point is the uses of flow net. So for determination of discharge we can use the flow net. Okay, we have seen that part. Now we have this equation or this formula, that is Q is equals to KH NF upon ND. So what this NF and ND means, what NF is the total number of flow channels in the flow net, and ND is the total number of potential drops in a flow net. So by using these two concepts we get this equation Q is equals to KH NF upon ND. Okay, just remember this point. In the MCQs we have this small MCQs with this formula. Okay, then for determination of total head H, so HT total head is equals to H minus N into H divided by ND. N, small n, means number of potential drops. Okay, so just remember this formula also. So next is determination of pressure head. So HP is the pressure head is equals to total head plus HE. HE is the equipotential head or elevation head. Okay, so pressure head HP is equals to total head plus elevation head. So the pressure head at any point is the height of water column in the piezometer at a particular point. Okay, then for the determination of exit hydraulic gradient, I is equals to delta H upon L. Okay, so these are the properties of the flow net, uses of the flow net, sorry. Then we'll solve some numerical, simple numericals will be asked as MCQs. Okay, so we'll study those one by one. A constant head permeability test was conducted on a cylindrical sample of sand. Okay, cylindrical sample of sand. So what does mean what do you mean by this sand? So there is a which type of test or which type of so what does this sample of sand means? What we have two types of laboratory methods, constant head method and variable head method. Okay, so this constant head method is suitable for coarse grained soil, okay, and is conducted with a constant head permeameter. And the next method is, or second method is falling head method, and that is best suited for fine grained soils. Okay, now sand comes under coarse grain. Okay, this is not sand is not a soil. Okay, so it comes under the coarse grain soil. Okay, so this is constant head permeability method. Okay, so we'll use that formula for finding or for getting this coefficient of permeability K. Okay, now coming towards our numerical, 10 centimeter diameter, 15 centimeter height of this cylindrical sample. Okay, cylindrical sample. Then 160 centimeter cube of water has collected in 1.75 minutes. Okay, under a head of 30 centimeter. So compute the coefficient of permeability in meter per year and velocity of flow in meter per second. Now moving towards whatever is the given data. So if it is not actually given in centimeter and meters, whatever we are expecting, so we will convert that data first. Okay, now firstly, what is given? We have given with a discharge per unit time Q as 160 centimeter cube. Okay, and we have this formula for constant head permeability method. Okay, so K is equals to Q divided by IA, or is equals to capital Q divided by IA into T. Okay, this part we have discussed in our PPTs. So just I will upload the PPTs on Google Classroom, and you can refer those simple formulas. So we'll substitute all the values in this equation. So we are given with a total discharge Q, and we will calculate this area A. It is pi by 4 d square. Okay, then I is h by L. So I is h by L. So h is given as, head is given as 30 and L is given as 15 centimeter. Okay, so I is 2 is equals to 2, and we are given with the time, that is 1.75 minutes, that means 105 seconds. Okay, and we'll keep all the values in this formula, and we'll get the coefficient of permeability K is equals to 9.7 into 10 raised to minus 5 meter per second. Okay, now what we have to do, we have to convert this meter per second value in meter per year. Okay, so I will give this task to you, and just let me know the answer in the comment box. So what you have to do, you have to convert this K 9.7 into 10 raised to minus 5 meter per second into meter per year. Okay, then tell me whatever the answer you are getting in the comment box. Then the velocity of flow in meter per second. So we know V is equals to Ki. Okay, and we'll get this velocity of flow in meter per second. Okay, so this type of simple numericals will be asked, but you have to just be vigilant with the formulas. So which formula we have to use where. Okay, so that can be there is also always one clue, that is the regarding the soil type, coarse grain or fine grain. If it is coarse grain, just use constant head permeability method, and if it is fine grain soil, then use falling head permeability method. Okay, and accordingly their formulas. Now we'll do one. Okay, next numerical is the in a falling head permeability test. So they have told here directly the falling head permeability test. So you have to use this formula for getting the coefficient of permeability. Okay, on a soil sample of 12.2 centimeter height and 44.41 centimeter square cross sectional area, the water level in standpipe of 6.25 mm internal diameter dropped from a height of 75 centimeter to 24.7 centimeter. Okay, internal diameter of this standpipe is 6.25 mm and head drops from 75 centimeter to 24.7 centimeter in 15 minutes. Okay, then find the coefficient of permeability. So very simple, we have this formula for coefficient of permeability, that is K is equals to AL upon AT into log to the base E H1 upon H2. So this log to the base E is converted and into log 10 and with the value of 2.303 AL divided by AT log to the base 10 H1 upon H2. So we are given with the internal diameter 6.25. So we will get this area. We are given with the time in minutes, so we'll convert that time into seconds and we'll substitute all the values in this formula and we'll get the coefficient of permeability, that is 1.04 into 10 raised to minus 4 centimeter per second. Okay, clear? So this type of simple numericals can be asked. So one numerical is there on the hydraulic gradient. So we'll see that numerical. The void ratio for a sand deposits varies from 0.4 to 0.85. Okay, the specific gravity of sand is 2.67. So what is the range of critical hydraulic gradient? Okay, now what do you mean by critical hydraulic gradient? So critical hydraulic gradient, of a quicksand condition is known as critical hydraulic gradient, and we have seen this formula also, that is IC, critical hydraulic gradient is equals to G minus 1 divided by 1 plus E. So that is the formula for critical hydraulic gradient. So you know what is the quicksand condition. Okay, the soil starts flowing with the flow the flow, when the flow takes place in upward direction, the effective pressure gets reduced and seepage pressure acts in the upward direction. So the soil become exactly equal to the total liquid form. Okay, so that is the quicksand condition, and hydraulic gradient at this quicksand condition is known as critical hydraulic gradient. Okay, so we are given with the void ratio of 0.4 and 0.85. Okay, so that range of the void ratio is given, and you know we can calculate this hydraulic gradient when we know this G value, specific gravity and void ratio. So range of void ratio is given, so we have to calculate what is the range of hydraulic gradient. So simply we place the different void ratios and we'll get this range of critical hydraulic gradient. It ranges from 1.19 to 0.90. Okay, so here we'll complete our second unit, and if you just solve some numericals related with this seepage and permeability methods. Okay, and if you are facing any doubt regarding in solving any numerical or any theoretical part, then you can directly ask me. Okay, so thank you, take care, and mark your attendance in the comment box. It is very necessary for your assessment. Okay, thank you.